Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the second lesson of our first unit, and today we're going to be looking at geography themes. So for this topic, we're going to find that there are 5 themes of geography, and those themes are location, place, human environment interaction, movement, and regions. We're going to go through and look at each of these one at a time and give a little more detail what we mean in regards to each of these themes. So the first one we're going to start with is location. For each of these themes, we have a big question. That question shows what the overall theme means so that we can have a better understanding of what we're looking at. So for location, our big question is, where is it? So we're going to be looking at where something is at. Now there are 2 types of location. There is relative location and absolute location. Relative location is whenever I say, McDonald's is located beside Walmart. You're giving reference to where something is in relation to something else. I'm standing in the front of the room. So you're giving a location related to something else's location. The other type of location is absolute location, and that's where we're looking to find the precise or exact spot on the Earth's surface. To find absolute location, we use latitude and longitude. Latitude and longitude are these imaginary lines that we draw on maps so that we're able to easily find the locations of these places. Latitude measures the distance north or south of the equator, and the equator is that 0-degree line that's a starting point for latitude. And then longitude measures east or west of the prime meridian, and the prime meridian is that starting point that we measure longitude from. So it's that 0-degree line of longitude. So if I look at a map, I can see first, I'm going to point out the equator. The equator is this center line that divides the Earth into the northern and the southern hemispheres. And then all these other horizontal lines from it are measuring north of or south of that line. And depending on how many degrees it is how far away from the equator it is. For longitude, our main line is the prime meridian. And then we have the vertical lines going both west and east of the prime meridian. So longitude measures that distance, how far something is either east of the prime meridian or west of the prime meridian. Our next theme is place. The big question for place is, what is it like there? So if I'm asking somebody to describe to me an area, you're telling me about its place. And you're going to be using 2 types of characteristics, both human characteristics and physical characteristics. Physical characteristics come from the Earth's physical processes themselves. If I'm describing Colorado, I might talk about the tall mountains that are found throughout the state. But you can also talk about an area's human characteristics. If I'm describing New York City, you could talk about the many different types of cultures or languages that you would hear spoken in that big city. And I just said big city, meaning a lot of people, which is also a human characteristic. So when we're talking about describing places, we're asking, what is it like there? And we're using both human and physical characteristics to describe them. Our next theme, human environment interaction. And our big question is, what is the relationship between people and their environment? So we're looking at how people affect the environment and also how the environment affects people. In fact, there are 3 ways that people can affect their environment as far as categories. We can depend on the environment, where we get our basic needs from the environment itself. We can modify our environment. Something in the environment doesn't suit us as humans, so we change or modify something about it to fit our needs. Or if we're unable to change the environment, we have to change something about the way we live and adapt to the environment in order for us to survive in that area. So on the next slides, I have some pictures, and we're going to see if we can determine whether these pictures are showing whether we've depended on the environment, modified the environment, or adapted to the environment. So the first one, as we look here, we can see that we as humans have dug out and made these terraces along this hillside. So if we've dug out and changed the landscape, that means that we have modified this landscape for our needs. So this picture is showing us modifying the environment. This picture, this actually shows you an above view of Raystown Lake. And Raystown Lake is a man-made lake. We took this river valley of the Juniata River and we built a dam at the northern end of this, near Huntington, and it flooded this river valley, creating this man-made lake. So if we flooded a valley, that means that we have, again, modified our environment to change it to suit our needs. Let's go here. There we go. Now, there's a fourth category that we didn't mention earlier, and sometimes we can have the environment affecting people. We had a roadway that, due to a rainstorm and flooding, has washed that roadway away, meaning that the environment also can affect people. And then on this one, we are in a dry area, and it's hard to have agriculture in that area. So one adaptation that we have is that we've irrigated, and this is called central pivot irrigation, where they irrigate circles of land so that you can grow crops better in. So we've adapted to this dry environment through our technology, allowing us to survive in this area. I'm going to get through some of these others. Let's go to our next theme, which is movement. And our big question is, why are places connected with one another? So it looks at how and why people and things move. How do they get there? Why do they move? Why do groups of people settle in certain areas? So we're looking at either the movement of people, movement of goods, or movement of ideas. When we're looking at movement of people, we're looking at why people move, settle, or live in certain areas. Why did the Pilgrims come over and settle in North America? Why do you have people fleeing or being refugees of certain countries? What are those reasons? Where are they going? Why are they going there? So movement of people. Movement of goods. Goods are items that are bought and sold. Well, how do those goods get from one place to another? What modes of transportation take them? Why do some areas produce certain items and other areas of the world don't? You can look at what resources are available in those areas that affects why they're produced in those areas. And the movement of ideas. How do ideas travel around the world? In today's day and age, it's very easy with the internet and social media for ideas to travel throughout the world instantly. But previously, it would be either through speeches, or you could have written works that people would then read for these ideas to travel from one place to another. And then our last of the 5 themes is region. Region is asking what is similar in that area. And we're looking at what common characteristics these areas have in common. And again, we're going to see these words, human and physical characteristics. Those are the types of characteristics we're looking at to see what is in common in that area. So regions allow us to compare places. What one place is like compared to another when we clump them into regions. Just one example of what I mean by areas that have something in common. This map shows climate regions. So the big areas of color are similar in climates. So we've clumped them for their characteristic of climate, and you can see what areas make up what regions. All right, that's all for this video lesson. Make sure you check out and read the rest of Google Classroom to find out the other tasks for today. We'll see you next time.